is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be reacting to some Detroit Lions interviews from today. We got to hear from three big dogs. We got to hear from Patricia. We got to hear from Matthew Stafford. And we also got to hear from Frank Ragnow. So let's get it started.
I got to shout out DoseOfDion, man, because it was actually the first time I went live on YouTube. And, guys don't know, DoseOfDion, he put out a lot of good content for the Detroit Lions.
Welcome everybody to another video. Glad you guys are here. It is good to be back and talk some more Detroit Lions, man. We are only 6 days away from the Lions season. 6 days until we kick off against Chicago. So I think it's super important that we react to these. We know what these players have to say, see if we can get some inside information. And as we know, Lions recently went out and got AP, so we had to hear what they had to say about Adrian Peterson. Now, before we get into this video, I do want to give you guys a huge thank you for the support on the win-loss video that I just uploaded. I know some people, that's not their cup of tea, man. They don't like that. They're like, hey, that's not my thing. I'd rather you just talk about the Lions. I don't like the skits. But me personally, I love doing skits. I don't want to do them all the time. Okay, of course, I don't want to do them all the time, but I do like to mix them in. Just kind of do something a little bit different. So that's what I did there. Just try to mix it up a little bit. That way things don't get stale. So I do appreciate all the support over there. We probably will do a schedule breakdown at some point, whether either in a live stream or, maybe super long video where we kind of go game by game and I can, give you all my thoughts on those games, things like that. And obviously we'll preview games before the game starts, so we have those as well coming. I just thought I would do something a little bit different. Heard from some really big names in the Detroit Lions world today. So we're going to start off with quarterback Matthew Stafford. Obviously the beast himself, Matthew Stafford, the super underrated quarterback. Someone put in the comment section that him and Mitchell Trubisky had the same amount of Pro Bowl appearances. Yeah, isn't that messed up? Does that not sum up how messed up and how underrated this guy is as a quarterback? Matthew Stafford had an incredible year last year, and let me just say, even though some people, say he looks a little more animated on the field, which I feel like he does a little bit, when it comes to interviews and press conferences, he's just like Matt Patricia. Honestly, maybe even a little bit tighter than Matt Patricia in terms that he does not want to give away anything. This guy is locked in. He's focused on this year, and I love it. I'm okay with that. Be focused, all right? If you're focused on this year, you're ready to go. You don't got time to talk, man. You ready to talk? You ready to go play on the field, especially last year after missing half the season. So we got to go out there and play. He basically said we have to prove it every day in practice and then prove it on the field. Matthew Stafford's been like that for a long time. That's how Matthew Stafford does things. That's how he goes about things. Matthew Stafford's that guy that's like, hey, look, I don't care what happened last year. I don't care what happened yesterday. I don't care what happened 5 seconds ago. I'm going to go out there and I got to prove myself this next minute, this next game, this next practice. I got to go prove myself. We have to prove ourselves. Forget what happened last year. All right, we set the bar at a certain position. Now we need to go exceed that and try to make it so we can help our team win football games. That's just how he is. Stafford is just like that, very humble, and he's very locked in. You just love to see it. Talking about Adrian Peterson, he did say that he's glad to see Adrian Peterson in their uniform now, not in that gold and purple, because first off, that's just ugly. And secondly, it's nice to see him in the Detroit Lions uniform. He said it's been way too long watching him on the other side of things. He's done his thing against Detroit, so it's nice to see him in the huddle. He was asked about the whole MVP thing because, he made that text to, I guess, Nate Burleson. They talked about on Good Morning Football. And it must have been legit because he didn't deny that it wasn't legit, but he also did say that he wasn't going to go into any of the background story of how that took place. But, hey, it was legit. Matthew Stafford did bring it up, but he's not focused at all on the MVP, at least from what he said. Matthew Stafford's focused on winning football games, and I think, Matthew Stafford, if y'all win some football games, don't be surprised if you get that MVP award. But hey, I love it. Stay locked in. Keep doing your thing. He said last year did sting. He said last year stung as a team. Last year stung for him as well. So definitely, very locked in Matthew Stafford. Not a lot of takeaways, but of course it's great to see him out there, and it's going to be great to see him on the field. Now let's move on to Frank Ragnow. Let me just say, if there's a guy on the Lions that you could just sit down and just drink some of this sparkling water with, it's Frank Ragnow. Because Frank Ragnow the dude's a character, man. He's just so funny to listen to. And he was asked about Adrian Peterson first, and they asked, how did you introduce yourself to Adrian Peterson? He said, hi, hey, I'm Frank. And more kind of like a little bit of a shaky, a little jittery Frank Ragnow. Frank Ragnow's a young guy, and he definitely watched Adrian Peterson growing up. He said there was a game against the Chargers. He had 296 yards rushing. 200... What? Matt Patricia brings it up later. He didn't know the exact total. 296. I didn't even know that was a thing because, I didn't follow the Vikings. But 296? That's ridiculous, man. 296 in a game. He actually said he had a jersey of him when he was younger. He couldn't really find it, but he wants to find it so he can get it signed by him. Look, Frank, I love it, man. I do love it. It's cool that Adrian Peterson is now aligned, but let's stay locked in, Frank. Come on, you're blocking for this guy now, which honestly is probably going to make him even more motivated to think that a guy that you had a jersey of when you were a kid, that you get to block for him, right? Think about that for a second. Everybody everybody has people that they like to watch. Like, Matthew Stafford, he's my favorite player currently on the Lions. If you got to work with Matthew Stafford, you'll be very motivated to kind of be like, hey, look what I can do over here. So this is really big for, honestly, everybody on this offense. And I think it gives everybody kind of a boost, gives everybody kind of a little bit of momentum. As it's not just Frank Ragnow, like guys like that are just excited to work with Adrian Peterson. It's also guys like Kerryon Johnson. And he's like, is it okay if I fanboy over Adrian Peterson? I mean, it's really cool to just have that in the building because, like I said, I think that's just really good for everyone. It's going to push everybody harder to, honestly, kind of try to impress them a little bit, especially those running backs. And he's going to help them. He's going to teach them what he knows because obviously he's not going to be here for a very long time. The guy's 35 years old, but he's going to teach them what he knows. Now, staying on the Kerryon topic just for a quick little second, I don't think he should necessarily be responding to these, but I can honestly see how this could annoy you. A fan was like, hey, they signed AP, they drafted Swift, you could be out of here soon. I don't know why people do this to players. I really don't know. I don't think Kerryon should react to it because I feel like, you're kind of feeding the fuel to the flame. Like, I feel like you shouldn't do that. But at the same time, I can really see why this would annoy you as a player. And I don't know why people do this. Like, I really never get it. Like, I mean, you could talk about a player, but why go at him like that on Twitter and social media? Like, why? Well, what's the point? I mean, they're out there doing your thing. You're out here doing your thing. Obviously, you're not in the NFL, so why come at somebody else? But Kerryon was not happy with it. He's like, well, I'm going to be here longer than you, though. And I was like, dang, Kerryon, you didn't have to do him like that. Just leave the man alone, okay? Kerryon, I hope you go out there and prove yourself, man. Go out there and prove yourself. Go light everybody up. I'm serious, dude. I think this guy was a Patriots fan, too, which is weird. So, I don't know. Either way, Kerryon, I know you shouldn't be responding to these, but go out there, just prove everybody wrong, okay? And I get it. It's okay to, dislike a player or not necessarily think a player's gonna be good. It is what it is, but it's just like, Kerryon, go out there, prove everybody wrong. I mean, this is your opportunity. He talked about Taylor Decker. He said he's been a blessing to play with. He said, I feel like he's been freaking good since he's been here. So he gave Taylor Decker some credit, and he's just been great on and off the field as a person for this offense. Just someone that's great to talk to, things like that. Focused on finishing. And this is something that the Lions have been throughout this offseason. But he said it's further than just on the field and finishing on third downs and things like that. It's finishing in your life. It's finishing in everything you do, and that's been the focus. Whether you're on the field or off the field, you're at home at night, whatever you're doing, finish, right? Finish whatever you started. And I think that's a great thing. TJ Hockenson is calling it dagger time. And I think that's what's great about everything. Just focus on that. If you can focus on finishing everything you do, that will help into game day. That will help on the field because you will have that in the back of your mind. Hey, we got to finish this thing off. All right. Our job's not done yet. This job ain't over until the game's over, right? We have to go finish these games off because we know last year there was a lot of games that we could have won. And that is important. It is important that you were competitive, but you didn't finish it off. So that is something that you should focus on for the next season. And finally, Matt Patricia. Now, Matt Patricia, obviously, he's not going to say a lot of things, but Matt Patricia did give us some information. The first thing about the Bears, and he said, hey, we're on to the Bears. And just hearing him say that alone, I was just kind of like, I got a moment of weakness there for a second. I was like, you know what? You're right. We are on to the Bears. Y'all, it's Bears week, baby. And then he talked about Adrian Peterson a little bit. Now, there's some really interesting things about Adrian Peterson. First off, he said, the fact that he and Darrell Bevell had that relationship was important, that he goes back with him, he's familiar with him, and he had success with Darrell Bevell when he was back there. I brought that up, that Darrell Bevell was there when they drafted AP, and I thought that, could have something to do with it. So he was kind of familiar with the kind of play style that they want to have, the play type they're going to have offensively. Come on, man. This is Darrell Bevell's offense. This is why he went out and got Adrian Peterson. He also said he's a phenomenal player that he just wanted to pursue. It had nothing to do with any of the other injuries, even though it may have. He said it doesn't. He said it was independent. They wanted to go get Adrian Peterson when he came available. And they always take a look at who's available. And Peterson was the guy they were interested in. They went out and got him. It was a mutual agreement to go get him. So I'm glad that Adrian Peterson is here with the Detroit Lions. I think it's a huge boost to that running back group for sure. Yeah, he's 35 years old, but he's still the monster. He is still a monster. Asked if he would play this weekend. He said, we'll see. He's not exactly sure yet. But him being familiar with the offense, things like that, definitely helps him because he hasn't been here for Lions training camp at all. I mean, forget the short offseason. You haven't been here for Lions training camp. You haven't been here like much at all for the Detroit Lions. But since he's familiar in the type of offense, that kind of gives you a little bit of knowledge that, hey, this is probably what it's going to look like for Darrell Bevell, what he's done in the past with these guys, and just what kind of offense to expect from the Detroit Lions this season because he thinks that he could fit in very, very quick. He said if players can just get better 1% every day because he's talked about, the kind of relationship and bond, and the thing that he loves about this team is that they just out there and want to win. They just want to go out there and win football games. They love each other. They like each other, and they just want to go out there and win football games. They compete against each other. They push each other, make each other better. We know the environment is great here. It's going to be a huge impact on the season. When he was talking about no preseason games, he said it's really just for personnel. There's not a lot in preseason that you get away because a lot of it's vanilla, but you do get to see personnel and you get to focus on a player's skill. You know, you can evaluate maybe if the player took a jump or maybe he's starting to slow down. What's different about his game heading into next season? Definitely quarterbacks, things like that. And since you don't get that, you really have to focus on last year. So it's going to be like that for every team. It's going to be a little bit more difficult heading into week 1, but I mean, I think the Lions will embrace the challenge, and it's just going to be something that's fun to watch. So I love seeing the adjustments, what coaches make adjustments during games and things like that. So I think it should be fun to watch this year. And he brought up the word environment a ton. And again, that kind of goes back to what the Lions are building here. The environment that we have built in this locker room is going to make a world of difference. So those are the 3 players we got to hear from today. Well, the 2 players and the coach that we got to hear from today. I think there were some beautiful takeaways. I just can't believe it's Bears week, y'all. It's Bears week, dog. Let's get this thing rolling. Thank you, Pride, for watching. Let me hear your thoughts, comments below, and I'm out. Look at all these cool people. Look at all these cool Hall of Fame, All-Pro, and patrons. You guys are so awesome. Look how interesting. That's an interesting name. I've never seen one like that. I'm not saying that one out loud. We got some cool stuff here, man. I appreciate all of you guys. You guys are awesome. You guys want to be part of this? Click the join button. I appreciate you guys. Look, man, you guys are cool, man. I see you. Oh, I see you're not sneak. I see you down there, my boy.